Good
Hi.
afternoon. Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm very well. I mean, COVID is going crazy in England again, but so far I've been lucky. How are you?
Well, thanks God. Thanks. Well, I'm good. We're doing pretty good too. We've got this beautiful fall autumn weather, just like the previous time we had this meeting. It was also a fall time.
Was, I remember, yes. So what's happening today? How much time do we have and who will be here?
Today, primarily, we are expecting most of the students were interested in this program. We had like more than like 5,000 students who really wanted to participate in this event. So the Zoom is open to about like 100 students now. So mostly we'll have the students and then the staff who are also interested in the Tolus exam and then the Illuminate program too.
Okay.
But primarily right now we have a lot of questions regarding the Tolus itself. So we provided some seminars too.
Okay.
But we thought that it would be better if we have you as a guest speaker, as the founder of the Tolus and then the Global Legal English and the Illuminate program too. So the students are looking forward to well, they might have some questions. Good. So
I hope so,
we'll be
yeah.
answering most of those questions like on this event.
I would like to spend some time explaining to the students why they should do this and what the benefits are.
Yes.
I think it's really important because they feel they're very busy already and they have a lot to do and this is extra. So if you don't mind, I'd like to address a lot of this to the students and maybe.
Wait. Well, I'm sorry. I accidentally turned your, I muted you accidentally. I'm sorry. Can I just? It's Catherine. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Zoom خطوات. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I think I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if there are technical questions about procedure and registration and how the exam works, maybe we could do those very quickly. But I think it's really important to talk to the students about the benefits of this, if that's okay with you.
Yes, sure, Ms. Catherine. It was just perfect for us too, and that was the initial aim of this meeting too, explaining
Right.
about the benefits and like answering those questions why they really need this test.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
And also some other related questions as well.
Of course. Forgive me. I've got my cup of tea.
Sure. I know it's morning there, right?
It's morning, yeah, and I can't do anything without 2 cups of tea, so here I am. So you just let me know when we're ready to start. And
well, we still have. Do you have any pictures or slides to share? Do you want me to give you the?
No, not on this one. We can do another one like that. But on this one, I'd quite like it to be informal, and I would quite like to just sometimes check that the students are understanding. Maybe I could occasionally ask the teachers to check translations and things like that of some vocabulary to make sure the students are understanding.
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yes, it's fine. It's perfectly fine. Also, well, we're still. Okay. So I believe we can start now. So if you just allow me to start this meeting. So dear participants of this event, thank you for joining this event. So thank you for allotting your time and showing your interests in this program too. So today, the Department of Foreign Languages of University of Law of Tashkent State University are organizing an event with Catherine Mason. She is she's the founder of the Tolus exam, as well as she's the a person who has given us this wonderful book, which we use in our university, the Lawyers Legal English course book. So that's the kind of a book which gives us a lot of insight about the peculiarities of legal English. And today in this event, we would like to listen to what Ms. Mathan will have to tell us, and we would like to everybody to be attentive. If you have any questions, please address them via chat, or you can address Ms. Mathan directly too. So we're open to it. This meeting is semi-formal, so we would like to hear a lot, both from our guest speaker and then from those who are taking part in this event too. So if you allow me to give the floor to Ms. Mason. So Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oibek. Well, first of all, thank you. I know everyone is busy and has limited time, so thank you for choosing to join the call. I'm Catherine. I am a teacher of English lawyers in Cambridge, in England. That's been my job now for 21 years. So I've taught English to lawyers from probably every country in the world, except the English-speaking ones. I was the founder of that school, Cambridge Law Studio, and also the founder of the Tolus exam. So thank you for welcoming me today into your university. I'm here to tell you a little bit more about two things. The first is the Tolus exams in legal English, and the second is the Illuminate course, which is basically our Cambridge course online. It took 2 years to develop Illuminate because we teach a lot. But it's our Cambridge course online. So Tolus is an exam where law students can show an employer their legal English as well as their ordinary English. And Illuminate will help you with that exam, but you can study it alone without an exam if you want to. So at the moment, we have 300 exam centres around the world, mostly universities, who are doing the Tolus exams. So you're kind of one of our 300 and a new one, so welcome. And Illuminate is quite new, but we do have lawyers around the world working online with Illuminate. So I'd like to begin by being a little bit less formal and telling you what I tell our students in Cambridge on day one. And that is why you need this stuff as law students. And it's about your employability after you graduate. So I guess as law students, you might want to work in the USA or the UK, but probably, I think, you just want a very good job in law in Tashkent. I think that's what most graduates around the world want. A really good job that pays a very good salary in their home country. But there's a lot of competition to get that job. There are a lot of law graduates. And I think Illuminate and the point of Tolus is to give you an advantage when you go for that job. And you should begin early to prepare, even from your first year in law, if you can. That preparation time is never a waste of your time. You're not losing time, you're investing in your future. And the reason we are different from other schools, English that you need for work and not the English that you need to study law. So from the first day you study Illuminate or you study Tolls, you're learning English that you cannot really find help you with the. So the first thing you should do to begin preparing, even before you look at Tolls or Illuminate, is to find out what's happening in law in your country. So I have researched Uzbekistan and Tashkent, and what I found is this. Your country is trying to make it easier to do international business. Tashkent at the moment is doing everything possible to bring money and business into the country. And like everyone in the world, you've had COVID, and that's created problems. But everything's now starting again. So what I read is when you changed president, everything changed. Now, I don't know how true that is. You will have to tell me. But I read that you have a president now who is truly trying to make Uzbekistan international and to bring business into the country. And for that, you need great lawyers, and you need great lawyers who speak English. So there's an organization called the World Bank, and the World Bank has a list of countries where it's great to do business. Tashkent, Uzbekistan, has just moved up very quickly from number 74 to number 69. And how has that happened? Because lawyers have to know this. Law doesn't exist all by itself. It's part of the world of business. So you need to research what's happening even before you look at tolls. And the number one thing you're doing is better human rights. That will bring in business and money into Uzbekistan. Criminalization, you've made it a crime to force labor. So employees before who were not happy doing the job, now they have to be happy. Now forgive my pronunciation, but I read that you had a big emergency with a dam that broke. Sardoba, am I saying that correctly? Can anyone help me with that yet, or are you all on mute? That you had this huge tragedy where this dam containing all this water broke, and 100,000 people in Uzbekistan didn't have a home, they didn't have food. It was a huge tragedy. And your new president acted very quickly to find out why, what went wrong, legal action to make sure that can't happen again. Lawyers need to look at all of these things to see how business is. It's your legal background. I had a look at visas. Uzbekistan has created an investment visa to bring foreigners in more easily and to allow money and businesses to come in. These are all things that Uzbek law students know. I mean, learning contract law is important. Yes, you need offer. Yes, you need acceptance. But that's theory. Look at what's really happening in the world of law and the world of business, and it makes you more employable. And in Illuminate, our online course, and in the Tolus exams, we ask you not just to learn English, but to learn about the reality of law, what's really happening. What are your big areas of investment and work? Well, oil, gas, green energy, construction, and intellectual property, protecting copyright, protecting patent. So if you're asking foreign countries to come into Uzbekistan and invest money, property is huge. It's extremely important. So that's what's happening at the moment. And the website where you need to look is called the Legal 500. So it's legal number 500.com. Search for Uzbekistan, and it tells you what's happening now this year in the world of work. So when you study the Tolus exams, or when you study Illuminate, we ask you to think not about the theory of law, but about the reality of law, because this will make you so much more interesting to your future employers. Begin now, begin today, if you can. It's so very important. So when you know the background to law, that's great. Let's imagine you are applying for work in Tashkent with a major law firm. I would ask you now, as a law student or as a teacher, can you name the most successful law firms in Tashkent? Because you should be able to, even if you're just a first-year student, know who they are. Who are the best ones and what are they doing? So again, if you look at the Legal 500 website, it tells you, let me find some of the names. I can't see them in my notes at the moment, but they're there on the Legal 500. And the most interesting one for me was Settle, S-E-T-T-L-E. They have got a legal superstar there. I believe his name is Jamshid, and he's written a great article that you can read in English about what the law firm are doing. That's how you give yourself an advantage. So imagine you would like a job with Settle Law Firm in Tashkent, one of the best ones. Let's say they're taking 50 new law graduates, but 5,000 law graduates have applied. How do they choose 50 from 5,000? Well, the first thing is your law degree needs to be good. Second thing is know the background. What's happening? Are they working in Uzbekistan? And it is intellectual property, green energy, oil, gas. Find out about those things before you apply. The next thing is great English. Now that's because when law firms do business internationally, often the contract will be in English as language, but also if there is a problem with the contract, often the jurisdiction. So if Uzbekistan has a contract with China and the problem, one of the parties does not fulfill their obligations, could be you're going to court with an English version New York or to London. So when you go for an interview, because you want to be one of the 50 that the law firm chooses for work, you need great English. You really do. And not the English you need to study law, but the English of contracts and negotiations. So have IELTS. Yeah, I guess a lot of you as law students are working very hard or you want Cambridge proficiency or TOEFL. I don't know which one. Maybe later you can tell me what you're doing. That will get you the interview if you have IELTS 6, 7, 8, but it's not going to get you the job. Remember that. A great law degree and a great IELTS certificate will probably get you the interview, but to get the job, you need a little bit more. So here's what might happen at interview. What the law firm is doing in the world at the moment. You would like work with us. What do you know about us? Tell us in English. But the other thing they might do, which is horrible, is give you part of a commercial contract in English and ask you to explain it in your first language. Now, I'm sorry to tell you this, but a great IELTS score won't allow you to do that, because IELTS does not teach you legal vocabulary. And to explain a contract in English well, you need to know the legal vocabulary. So if I can give you an example, it's a contract for the sale of gas from Uzbekistan to the European Union, and the contract is in English. And the first sentence is the seller, which is the company in Uzbekistan, the seller warrants and represents that, and then comes some here's a line from a contract. It's in English. You tell me what it means. Now, what I want for you and what your teachers in the foreign languages department want for you is for who do have IELTS to say, well, I speak English, but I don't understand this. And for you to be able to say, okay, word warrant in this contract means we do not have a translation of this word in Uzbekistan because this legal idea doesn't exist in our civil code. But when an English-speaking lawyer uses the word, it means this. You now are going to be one of the 50 degree and a great IELTS score. You know the background of this law firm, you can talk about it in English, and you can explain a line from a contract. That's what we want for you. And that's why you should, even though you are busy and you already have enough work, you should start, even if you're tired. Good news is, it's not just legal vocabulary that you need. It's great English. ordinary English, but it has to be good. So my advice to you is listen to every grammar correction your teachers give you. Everyone hates grammar. Everyone hates prepositions and the present perfect. I've never met a student in the world who enjoyed English grammar. That it's hard and it's boring. But if you want to be one of the 50 who gets that dream job, you need legal vocabulary and you need great preposition. I wish you could talk to me now because I want to ask you if you watch Netflix in English. But my recommendation to you is to, in your free time, to Netflix or Amazon Prime or Sky TV, your favorite. At the moment, I'm watching a South Korean thing called Squid Game. It's the big thing at the moment in England. You might be surprised that a teacher of English in Cambridge is telling you to watch that in English, but the best English comes from students who leave their English class and then read in English or watch TV in English. So learn hard legal vocabulary, but also watch Netflix in English. And you're going to be so interesting to future employers. If I have just a little bit more time.
Sure. Ms. Catherine, you can have this time.
Student and not if I have 5 minutes as this, I'd like to give you 2 real situations you can discuss with your teachers afterwards. Because when you go for that job interview, they often give you an example and say, how would you advise the client? So here and says, look, we have a woman in a very senior position here in the bank. We need her, but she's expecting a baby again. This is the 3rd baby in 5 years. She's going to be away from work. We're a bank. We cannot fire a woman because she's having a baby. The law says we cannot do it, but we need to get her out. Now, English law says you cannot fire someone because they're expecting a baby. We don't have a civil code, but we do have some codified law. It's in Acts of Parliament, and they're long, terrible, dull, boring documents, but you can find them online. And we have one one of the employees is taking money, crime. Now, 3 of the employees have been working there for many years. They're friends of the employer. And there is 1 new employee. She's 17 years old. Her name is Lucy. And the money began to disappear when Lucy started work. So the employer, whose name is Anne, has a meeting with Lucy and says, look, this is a difficult subject, but money is disappearing from the business. And the money began to disappear when you started work. Is it you? And Lucy, the employee, begins to cry. And surprisingly, she says, yes, it's me. I'm taking the money. I'm so sorry. It's because I have a problem. 17 years old. I'm not married. And I'm going to have a baby. And when my father learns this news, I will have to go. I'm going to need to find an apartment. I'm going to have to pay rent. I'm going to have to pay for my baby. And I took the money. I'm sorry. I'll pay you back. And the employer, who is a kind woman, Anne, she says, Lucy, don't cry. I understand your situation. It's horrible. I don't want the money back. You can keep it, but you have to go. I cannot keep you here as an employee. You're fired. Now, what happens next, and this is a true story, this really happened, is 2 days after she fired Lucy, the employee who was taking the money, Anne gets a letter from Lucy's lawyer. And it says, we are going to court. My client, Lucy, has four different claims against you in court. The first one is she does not have a written contract of employment. You gave her a job cutting hair, but you didn't give her a written contract. And that is a breach of employment law. As the employer, you broke the law. 2, you discriminated against my client. You have 4 employees, but you only questioned her about the money. What about the other 3? This is discrimination. Number 3, as the employer, you had a procedure to fire someone. You can't just point at the door and say, get out. You have to give the employee a letter explaining your reasons for firing her. Then you have to give her the opportunity to appeal. Then you have to offer her a meeting where she can bring a lawyer. And only then can you fire her. But you didn't do that. You said, get out. And the number 4 claim, this one's the bad one, 2 minutes was expecting a baby, you fired her. You cannot do that. The law says you cannot fire a pregnant employee, and you did. So we're going to court. Now, that is a true story. The employer talked to me and said, she took my money. She took my money, and now I have to go to court. So I'd like to ask you to think about what advice to Anne. Bank, they want that woman out because this is the 3rd baby in 5 years. What did they do? second example is employment law, but it's very, very different. So I'd love to get your ideas, but the point of this is, when you study Illuminate with us online, or when you begin preparing for a Tolus exam, you are learning about how to be a lawyer. You're learning English, but we will always, always show you real cases and stop you from thinking in an academic way, because that's your law degree, and think, when you go to that interview, how do we show them that you are special? In Uzbekistan, look at the Legal 500 website. Find out about how Uzbekistan is, but also think like a lawyer. So I'd like to talk to students in law. So the world of university is now, I think, beginning to talk about this. And that is brilliant, because when you graduate, artificial intelligence in law is going to be a huge thing. So read about it, learn about it, know about it. My friend Alex Hamilton is a brilliant lawyer in London. His website is called Radiant Law. I'll send that in an email. Take a look at the website. Read it when you can. Learn about artificial intelligence in law. And also watch Netflix. Watch Squid Game. Those are all the ingredients, all the things you need to make you different from any other law graduate who wants that job. So if I can stop there and talk to you a little bit, hear your ideas and take your questions, that would be wonderful.
Thank you very much, Ms. Catherine, for this really insightful speech. Now we have some questions here now. So we have some other candidates too, not from the outer university, not from our university. They're asking us about the difference between Tolus and the Illuminate program itself. So which one leads to what? That's their question. Thank you.
Okay, well, we started in the year 2000, 21 years ago, teaching English to lawyers in Cambridge. And every year we change what we teach from talking to working lawyers. So we have lawyers from Mercedes-Benz, Gucci, Carlsberg Beer, all those big companies. And we change the course according to their questions. We learned what they found difficult. 2 years ago, we put that course online, and that's Illuminate. There's no exam at the end of Illuminate. It's there for the knowledge. If you don't really care too much about getting another certificate, but you really want that knowledge that working lawyers need, that's Illuminate. You do get certificates. Every time you finish a module, you get an end of 10 modules, you can get our Cambridge certificate. Your level of English honestly doesn't matter, because the idea is you repeat the information as many times as necessary until you understand it. I don't think anyone could do Illuminate once and understand and remember. It's designed to be repeated. And it's good preparation for TOLS, for the exams. But if you don't want to do the exams, that's fine, because Illuminate has its own certificate. TOLS we developed because employers of lawyers said, when we employ new law graduates, they have many certificates. They have Cambridge First Certificate, TOEFL, and IELTS, but none of them understand the contract. Help us. So we developed the TOLS exams with employers so that new law graduates could begin with foundation and hopefully graduate with our advanced exam. And when you go for a job interview, you can say, yeah, I've got IELTS, but I also have TOLS. And that's the difference. And TOLS builds. So when you begin at foundation, there's no horrible grammar there. You can take it easy and then jump to the next level and then jump to the next level. Illuminate doesn't work like that. Illuminate is quite difficult, but you can repeat and repeat if your level of English is not fantastic. I hope that answers the question, but if it doesn't, just tell me and I can tell you more.
Well, I believe it was a pretty thorough answer. Thank you for that answer too. So another question is here. So dear Dr. Catherine Mason, can you tell us the difference between the Tolus and Lsat?
TOLS and what's the other one?
The LSAT, LSAT exams back in the US.
I am not familiar with LSAT, so after this call, I will Google and find out. But TOLS is an exam in legal English. It's not an exam in English law.
Thank you. Well, I believe I can answer these questions.
Okay.
Basically, if you allow me. So, dear participants and primarily Mr. Timur, so the TOLS, as like Catherine mentioned, is the exam which tests your legal English skills. Now, you might have a real good English, real competent English, like everyday communicative English, but when it comes to using specific terminology, when it comes to using the specific style of language, so TOLUS is the test which helps you to test that level where you are. Whereas the LSAT is basically a test which tests your theoretical knowledge of law, which basically allows you to be accepted to those law schools. And the LSAT is usually practiced in the US.
Okay, yeah. We have a new exam in England called the SQE, the Solicitors Qualifying Exam. And I know internationally, there are a lot of people who do not have English as a first language who are interested in this SQE. Now, the SQE tests a foreign person's knowledge of English law. TOLS doesn't do that. TOLS is when you get a written contract in front of you, or you have to do a commercial negotiation on Zoom, that you know the legal terminology. And I think that's a difficult thing to understand. If students are still listening to me, a lot of the terminology and the law that you learn on your law degree is just theoretical. When you begin working, you will see really quite different documents and vocabulary, and you have to learn them when you're doing the job, which is hard. That's really hard. So knowing English law, you would do the SQE, but to understand a written contract, you would do toll.
Thank you very much. Now we have another question here. So as we all know, the Tolus has 3 levels: the foundation, higher, and the advanced tests. Now, so what are the differences of these tests? Are there any specific skills which are tested in these tests? That's the other question from the internet user.
Okay, well, the first exam we developed was the advanced exam. And it was because a London law firm named Allen and Overy, very brilliant law firm, they had 32 offices around the world. And they said, we need a way to test not their general English, but their legal English. Could you develop a test that shows legal emails, contracts, negotiations? So we built the advanced exam for that. And if you can do the advanced exam well, you have the same English as an English lawyer, really, an English or American lawyer. And we quickly realized that the level of advanced was so high, no normal person could begin to study it. So we thought, we need to begin at the beginning with foundation, then jump to intermediate, higher exam, and then jump to advanced. So what we did was begin with the target language, the language we know you need, and we worked back. So the foundation exam tests your reading and writing, but with no terrible grammar. The foundation exam is really about beginning to learn legal vocabulary. It's like a vocabulary exam. But then when you jump to the next level, the higher, the grammar around the legal vocabulary becomes more difficult. And that's where the teachers of English are absolutely necessary. Sometimes students can think legal English is legal vocabulary. It's not. It's legal vocabulary plus perfect grammar. So the vocabulary does not really get more difficult. What gets more difficult is documents get longer, the time gets less, and the general everyday English becomes harder because it becomes more natural. So I hope that answers the question, but if not, please ask again. I'll be happy to help.
Thank you very much for your answer once again. So, dear participants, do you have any more questions, please?
Sorry, I would love to hear some ideas about the 2 employment situations I gave. Do we have, after this, do we have any students who could talk about that, or are the students on mute?
I have a question actually.
Go ahead, Nozima.
Yeah, good day, Professor. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Is there any website like a mock test where we can check our legal English knowledge before taking real test?
Well,
sure how much we know.
Yes, there is. So you probably know we're changing at the moment. We're moving from a paper exam to an online exam. The first online exam is in January. So the format of the exams has changed, but the content has not. We're testing exactly the same things, but in a different way. So I believe the university has some of our books of practice papers from previous exams. So although the exam will look different in January. Those books of practice papers test the same vocabulary and the same grammar. Also on the website, there are 3 demonstration exams in the new online format. So if you look at the Tolus legal website, you can see the 3 exams and they are interactive. You can test yourself. And from November, so next month, there will be more practice exams available for you to test yourself. But before November, if you want to test yourself, have a look at those old books of practice exams, because the syllabus is exactly the same.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mursardor, please. Do you have a question?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, hi.
First of all, I want to thank you for the organization of this conference. It's so interesting and exciting for the students of Tashkent State University of Law. I am a third-year student of the Faculty of Criminal Justice. And I want to say my opinion with regard to the cases which you said.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
So, thank you. With respect to the first case, the case with the owner of bank, I can say that according to the labor code of the Republic of Uzbekistan, actually, it's impossible to remove the contract with such a category of employees. But there is one moment you can remove the contract with your labor if the quality of the work of your labor is very low and the quality of his or her work negatively influences on the work of whole organization. Therefore, if the owner of the bank has enough evidence that this woman, the quality of her work is so low, and that's why the bank loses his clients and cannot earn and cannot place her high positions as earlier. In this case, you can remove the owner of the bank can remove the contract with this woman.
Thank you. Thank you for thinking about that. Can I ask you, what would be the consequence for the bank if they fired her? What would happen in reality? Why is it impossible to fire her? What's the consequence for the bank?
I think the bank cannot remove the contract because of the requirements of law, the labor code.
Yes, but what would be the consequence of the bank breaking the law? What would happen?
This woman can go to the court and write an appeal. In this case, the court may restore this woman in her job place. Okay. If the bank would remove the contract with her.
Okay. So thank you very, very much for thinking about that. I think we have a big cultural difference here, but maybe not. So what would happen in England or the United States is this. if you are the lawyer of that bank, my son, Tom, had this problem. He was a lawyer in London and a bank told him, we want this woman out. Now, his law firm told him, you never tell a client they cannot do something. You only tell the client how much it will cost to break the law. So this woman was actually brilliant at her job. She was amazing. And her salary was probably around £1 million a year. And the answer in England is, okay, as the lawyer, you say to her, we'll give you 3 million to go away and get another job. If you go to the court, you will win, but the court will probably give you 3 million. So we'll give you 3 million now, and no one goes to court, and it's the end of the problem. In a lot of major law firms, the culture is never tell the client they cannot break the law. Criminal is different. You have to tell the client that's a crime, do not do it. But in employment or intellectual property or licensing, very often you say to the client, well, the court will force you to pay her $3 million. So either employ her or pay her, and that's the end of the problem. What do you think about that?
Yes, it is possible because according to the labor code of the Republic of Uzbekistan, the employee and employer can remove the contract with the consensus, and if they contract at any time they want. And,
Wonderful.
Yeah. And with regard to the second case, I would
Can I stop you for just one moment? I want to hear your opinion. But just on that story about the bank, if you go for a job interview and they ask you, what advice would you give to the bank? The law says the bank cannot do that. It's impossible. If you are the law student that says, actually, it is the client, reach agreement with her about an amount of money and she's gone, that law firm will be so much more interested in you than the law student who quotes the law. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Brilliant, thank you. So the second case.
Yes, with regard to the second case, we can notice that if you are the employer and you have one or more employees, laborers, and you have some relations with them in the work, and these relations are not written in some document anyway, it does not give your labor or employee to take your money from your cash. I mean that if there is a theft, a crime, that's why
Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure?
Yes.
Because this is also a true story. It really happened. So according to our code, our Act of Parliament, the employee has a legal right to a written contract, and she didn't have one. She claimed discrimination because the employer did not speak to the other employees about the crime, only her. The employer by law has to write a letter explaining why she was fired, give her the opportunity to appeal, etc. And this woman was expecting a baby and she was fired. Now, of course, she was fired because of the crime, not because of the baby. But I think what you need to say is there's employment law here. Employee broke the criminal law. Yes, she took the money. But the employer has broken employment law. And one does not cancel the other. They are both guilty. So I would say to that employer, she has a case. Yeah, you can call the police, but she can go to the employment court, and the two things are not really connected. What do you think?
Yes, you are right, of course. But it seems to me that in this situation, the criminal aspect of case is have more more meaning than the another aspects of this case. And in such situations, the state bodies pay attention on crime, and the breaking employment law is not such important in this case. But the employer also can be required to the court.
Mm-hmm. So how does the employer avoid court? I'm sorry, you're being very brave talking to me, and I'm asking 100 questions. But this is what I do in Cambridge. It's how you learn the real English, and it's how you think like a lawyer. So I hope you're forgiving me for asking you 100 questions. Your English is beautiful, and you're explaining everything very well to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcelo. I believe we had another person who wanted to ask a question, who was raising a hand.
Go ahead.
So if you have a question, please, participants, feel free and you can ask.
Well, let me tell you the end to the theft story, because that's a true story, and see what you think. That employer had broken employment law. So yes, she involved the police, and there was a criminal situation with the employee. But her lawyer advised her, look, you broke employment law. If this employee goes to an employment court, she will win. You broke the law. She will definitely win. How much money will the employment court give her? Probably about £2,000. So give her £2,000 and it's the end of the problem. Now the employer went crazy. I'm sure you understand. This employee stole her money And now, to end the problem, give her another £2,000. Yes. The law is not fair. And I think as law students, you think about justice. And you have to stop thinking so much about justice and think about running a business profitably. Sometimes, often,
it belongs to the point of pregnancy both of the employees. For example, certainly in the second case, if the employee claimed to the employer, and according our labor system, or according our labor code, court will definitely cancel the
have I lost you?
Yeah, we lost the connection with her.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, I think she wanted to say that the court will definitely terminate the employment contract or so. So Mukhlisa, are you back again?
Oh yeah, of course. Because my internet is very awful. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So, court will definitely cancel the decision of employer. But there are also another ways to terminate with the employer, definitely terminate the employer and with the employer the contract. For example, if the court will cancel that decision and employer have to take the employer again for her place. But if we will make the protocol about the crime, about the fact of crime, we can definitely terminate the contract with the employer, based on the based on the criminal points.
Sure, but even if the employee is a criminal, you cannot just say get out. You have to go through a certain procedure.
Of course, I am telling you.
And she didn't do it. She didn't do it.
We can in our labor. There's some points that employer with other for example, other bodies of the of this company can make the protocol or to fix this fact about the crime. Written document. It will be a written document, and according to the document, employer can definitely terminate the contract with this woman.
Yes, in England, the employer can definitely terminate the contract, but only in the way that the law describes. First a letter, wait 4 weeks. But isn't it interesting to learn English this way by talking about real cases? I think it's essential to learn it this way. And I'm going to be difficult and say, I think in Uzbekistan, I don't know your law, but I think a judge would say, this is employment law. The employer broke it. This is criminal law. The employee broke it, and both of them are guilty. You have to get an employment lawyer in Uzbekistan to tell you if I'm correct or if I'm wrong.
So you are right.
Thank you.
It's,
Thank you.
Good. So
In Cambridge, I teach in groups of 12. And there's often one from Brazil, one from Spain, one from Italy, one from Moscow, and they're all shouting at me at this point. So this is a return to normality for me to have students about law with me. But this is real law, and this is what you need to think about, real cases. So when you begin Tol's foundation, you begin to think about Oybek.
thank you very much.
yes.
You're very welcome.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, Lisa, and all the participants and our guest speaker, Dr. Catherine. So the reason we've gathered today was actually to reveal you the efficiency of studying, and the efficiency, the prospects, also the prospects of preparing. Well, my mic is off. Fatmalı mı? Hareket opkır. Zoom bir rahmet. Hidrat.
Yeah, now he's back.
He's back.
Yeah.
Oybek is back.
I'm sorry. Having this terrible problem with my internet connection.
You're back. You're back, Oybek.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, well, what I was trying to say is that basically we've all gathered here to reveal the prospects of learning the legal English. And one way of learning the legal English is through the Illuminate courses the program offers. That's also a good way of preparing for the Tolus exam. Another way is preparing, like with the Tashkent State University of Law has become the exam center of the Tolus Exam Center, and then the partner of Global Legal English. And we're also launching some good programs which also will benefit and which also will help to the participants to improve their legal English skills. So in this regard, we're working in close collaboration with Ms. Mason here, and she advises us how to deal with some certain issues we have, considering the fact that we're the country where the English is not the first, not the second language, but the foreign language. We are having some difficulties. So we're trying to improve we're trying to overcome those difficulties by implementing all the skills we have. So that's also one good challenge for us too, both language-wise and then of the knowledge-wise too. But we're doing our best. So participants of this event, on behalf of the participants and on my name too, I truly thank you, Dr. Mason, for allotting your time, your precious time. I know you're really busy. You're always on road trips. And it's a huge opportunity for us to see the person who's the founder of those tests, and then the book too. So it's also a good motivation, good for our learners, for the participants, and for us, for teachers too. So I should say that one thing that we all have this concept, right? Like a lot of students come and address us and say, well, we have IELTS, some certain band scores now. So will that be enough to start the Tolus exam? So or they say, well, I have the elementary level of English now. Can I start the Tolus exam preparation? So the answer is, my personal answer is yes, you can. It's not the thing that you should allot some certain time to certain levels of English and then start the Tolus. But preferably would be better if you have at least some basic understanding of the language. Because when it comes to the Tolus preparation, we do not deal with the general English there. We try primarily address those specific terminology and then the specific style of the written concepts, the written passages and tasks of the Tolus. And then also, if necessary, we also provide some insight into the advanced grammar, if very capacity too. And then if I'm not mistaken, there is also another a good program on the grammar too, right?
We have online grammar. Yes, there are 2 grammar courses there. The first one, Initiate, is for students who are just really beginning to learn English. And it's online, available 24/7, so they can study it anytime and repeat it as often as they want to. And then the second level is called Activate, and that's more advanced grammar. So what we could do is, if you have people who want to study Illuminate online, we could create a learning path online that includes the grammar, so that when you go online, you can either study the terminology or think, oh, today I'm going to do the grammar. It would be quite easy for us to put them all into one thing so that you could access all of them.
Thank you very much too. So yeah, participants, this is also another tremendous opportunity for you to improve your both grammar and language skills in this regard. So if you the participants don't have any further questions now, Dr. Mason, so truly thank you one more time. It was a pleasure to see you. Okay. And I hope we will conduct some more of these kind of events in the future for our learners too.
I would love to, and if I still have any students listening to me, just think about those 2 cases. Think about the reality of it. No, now for work. Law degree, great. IELTS, brilliant. But get something more, please.
Thank you very much once more. So, I believe
That's it.
Say bye-bye, I guess. Yes, thank you very much for your time once more. So we look forward to close collaboration. But first,
Yes.
so Dr. Mason,
For now.
hear you for now. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.